And we are live. What is going on tonight? I am sitting here with the writer, director, uh, Steve Merlo of the Sawyer Massacre. And tonight we have a special second guest. I didn't even tell Steve about this. The associate
Whoa.
producer from the Sawyer Massacre, a true legend, John Henderson. I'm honored to be here.
Scared me there for a sec, man.
A true
uh,
inspiration to you, Steve, that John Henderson guy. I know what he means to
yeah,
you.
he does. Means a lot to me.
No, it's. I
uh,
was just telling a buddy that Steve's one of the guys who pushed me to really pursue what we're doing at Doomsday's Crypt. Was a big believer in the channel and the group and everything that I was doing, and even made me a associate producer on the Sawyer Massacre. So a big thank you to you for that and pushing me
oh
to
well, it was
keep
no
doing what
problem.
I'm doing with
Just yeah, exactly that. I see positive things coming from you, sir. So anytime I see positivity, I'm behind it.
I appreciate that. I mean, now we got the three-eyed demon. We got cutouts behind me.
I love
We
it,
got
man.
the yeah, you got to have the decorations. I put out some leather face for the Sawyer Massacre, and
Pretty
wow,
sweet.
it
Pretty
finally
sweet.
happened for you, man. A long journey. The last time I think I had you guys on, you just finished filming, and we had a bunch of the cast on.
Oh, you had. I thought it was just Scotty. I can't. My memory is so
I thought
so
it was
bad
was it
now.
just Scotty? Yeah, it was just Scotty. It was
It
just
may have
Scotty.
been
But
just.
we've
I
had, I
thought it
think we
was,
had
but
the
I could
cast
be.
on. We've done
Yeah,
so many streams, and I have so much going on with everything that I've been doing. Things become mush. I think I'm getting early stages of Alzheimer's, Steve.
Oh, I'm with you there, man. I forget so much these days.
Yes, that's right. It was you and Scotty who had just finished filming, and we just talked about so much stuff in that, and the process of filming, and it was not an easy filming for you. It was, I
Oh,
mean,
to say
anything
the
but
least.
smooth. And when you're not home either, it's got to be really difficult, like we talked about in that stream, because
Yeah,
you're there. Luckily, you had good people around you, which I think really helped
amazing people,
this
amazing
movie
people.
come together. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I
so where
can't
do we
say enough about the
start? It's been
people.
so long. Oh, I mean,
Well,
there was a lot of talented people in the film for
oh, a
sure.
lot.
William Instone, is that how I say his
William
name?
Gibson.
He's
I believe so. Yeah,
fantastic. I heard
it's great.
his new fan film's coming out, and somebody was it Butcher's Bluff?
Butcher's Bluff. I
Was
don't
it?
believe that's a fan film. I think it's the original project.
Oh, or not a fan film, but a independent project that he's come out
Yeah.
with. I'm just so used to saying the F word anymore,
Oh, I
but an
get you,
indie
man. I get you.
project. And a buddy of mine had seen it and said it was amazing. Like the
Yeah,
scope
he's
came
done a
out
lot of
really
test
good. Got an early
screenings.
screening of it.
Yeah, he's been doing a lot of
Yeah,
test screenings. Good on him for doing all that. I probably should have done more with the Sawyer Massacre, but I mean, we had our premiere and we took notes from people from the premiere, and then when we did our early screening that you could have got online. We took notes from people. That what they liked and what they didn't like, and the final version that's on YouTube now. I think that was completed totally like maybe 2 days before, or whenever we uploaded, 2 or 3 days before. That's what you saw. There was just there was a couple little things we had to try to iron out the best we could. There was one thing that was really pissing me off. We never really quite fixed it, but it was kind of an unfixable thing, really. It's a movie made for a very low budget, and we got a movie. We got a movie. And apparently people like it more than I thought they
you
would too.
did.
So
You did. Well, I heard you even talk about it. You're surprised that the score, the audience score, was as high as it was. You
yeah,
like
I
your
was
own
surprised.
personal score, your own movie. I think. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you didn't. You were pretty honest with yourself about what you felt it was, because uh, it's not an easy process. You had so many issues going into this film, and I
Yeah.
thought the acting was really great. I thought there was a lot of great points to this movie. I could tell that you could almost tell there was car issues because it felt kind of bare at times with that part.
Uh,
Um, where you said
I
you had
think we talked
the
about that.
vehicle issues where
Yeah, I mean,
those cars were so nice. Yeah, the cars. the cars, you could tell they didn't want driven too much, or you had to be really careful with them.
No, it
There were
wasn't.
some
It wasn't.
expensive cars there.
It wasn't necessarily. I mean, they are expensive. We did have to be careful with them.
Yeah.
It was just the amount that we had. We like 2 days before shooting. I had, I believe, 7 vehicles that were ready to go and were could be in the film at any time. And then the day before filming, it was, well, we're down to 5. Somebody backed out. They let me know, down to 5, but 5 was all we needed. Was all that was in the script was 5.
Uh,
So I was like, okay, we're still okay.
uh,
It's a good thing I got extras. Then the night before filming, the one of the owners of some of the vehicles uh, said, what did he say again? I'm trying to remember exactly what he said. He said one of them won't work or something like that. Couldn't get it started, something like that. And he only has 2 for us. So all of a sudden we're down to 4. So we go to pick up these 2 vehicles, and this other one won't start. So we only get 1 from him, and now we're down from 3. So that night I'm like brainstorming, how do we make it work with 3? Figured out a way, but then we get to the first day of filming, and we have a no-show from one of the people that tried to contact this person. We went from 7 to 2 vehicles in a matter of 2 days. And I was like, I can't make this work with 2 vehicles. I have to
yeah,
do something.
you guys, I know what.
And we did, though. I was on the
Well, you really
horn.
had to battle through a lot of
And
stuff.
oh yeah, the weather was another thing. There was just, I mean, I could go on and on about all the things that were
People
against
backing
us.
out last minute. I mean,
People
it
like
was,
just not showing
yeah,
up.
you,
Just no shows. Like that vehicle was a no show. The transportation coordinator was a no show. Yeah, it was crazy, but somehow we pulled it
who was
off.
it who went
But
around picking everybody up? Was it Scotty?
Scotty did a lot of
Was it,
that. He
somebody
wasn't
went
the only.
around
I
and
mean,
used their car.
you
Yeah.
know, fortunately, I mean, a lot of the cast were okay to drive themselves and do some carpooling and stuff. It was not ideal, but they were okay with it. They understood that this is not a Hollywood film or anything like that, and you don't have drivers necessarily always picking people up. It would be nice because it actually would have saved us money, but you know, uh, but it what we did the best we could with what we had, and I
I thought
think
I visually it looked good.
visually it looked good. Yeah, yeah. I
I don't
mean,
know if
there's
I'm
some
lagging
there's
out.
some there's some eyesores in the film. I'll say that there is a few eyesores that I see that I'm like, ugh. And I do get I do get comments about the rims on the truck quite often. I was hoping that wouldn't be too noticeable, but it is. It's pretty noticeable.
Those were pretty sick rims, though. Those are some
Those are
sick
pretty
rims
sick
there.
rims. The rims like that did not exist in that time period. Though.
No, 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 and it was hard to not see them really because it.
Uh,
I mean, to give it to be honest, Rex was driving a pretty pimped out truck. He was the first. Well, he's a trendsetter.
yeah, we'll
Rex
say
is a
that.
trendsetter.
Rex
He
was a
had the early versions of them. We all know now where those rims were invented. Rex did it in the garage.
There you go. We can say that. That paint
Yeah,
job
he
on
did
that
it
truck
over
was
at
pretty
Drayton's
nice.
garage, and he.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
man.
well, that was a sweet ass vehicle for sure.
But
So,
hey,
you had a
hey,
fantastic. Am I lagging on your end? Because I think like I keep
there's
I'm not sure
probably
if I'm
some
lagging on your end.
latency. I can never tell
It's all.
sometimes.
It's
It
like
probably is a 2-second lag or something like that. I don't think it's too close, but you know,
okay. I just wanted to
here's
make
a
sure
way
I
here's
wasn't
a way to
lagging.
test it. I'll count to 5 and you try to count with it. 1,
One,
2,
two,
3,
three,
4, 5.
four,
You're about a half
five,
second. You're
five.
about a second behind me. you're you're about a full second behind me as far
I
as I
just
can
wanted to
tell.
make sure it wasn't too bad on anybody who's watching. But yeah, so you had a fantastic cast, though. I was really impressed with
I
Jordan
do agree.
O'Neill and
I definitely agree
Nico
with
was
that.
great.
And these guys, these actors had to shoot this film in 9 days. So it was a huge challenge for all of them. And the fact that we've got performances as good as we did in a 9-day schedule really shows you how professional those actors really were. Because some actors would quit in situations like that where
Yeah.
you have to film so much at once, and but they were all, everybody was super professional, especially in the cast department. As far as just we got to nail it first time. We got to nail it pretty much the first time, first or second time. There was not much that went past 2 takes, simply because we didn't have the time. And if it was maybe a really quick pickup shot, MOS sort of thing, then you could take your time a few times with that, just one quick shot. But most of what you see, it was like first or second take. Hard to believe. I'd never done that before.
Well, this was your first full-length feature that you filmed too, wasn't it?
Not
I
filmed.
know you've done some short films.
I have filmed a feature length movie before. It hasn't been released. It's called Follow Your Heart. It's the opposite of what the Sawyer Massacre is. Complete opposite. But I filmed it, and well, we made a lot of mistakes, and a lot of rookie mistakes. It was my first real film. I mean, it was technically my second film, but it was my first real. It was definitely my first feature film, and it's still not been released simply because it's just not ready to be released. Maybe I'll release it someday. If I rework the audio, and a lot of audio issues in that movie, but it was actually a much longer film, and much longer film. It was about a 2-hour film, and I think we
Maybe it
shot
was
it
one
over
of those situations.
What kind of situations?
Like, I think because the lag. One of those situations where you bit off more than you could chew on a full-length film for your first
I would
time,
say
and
so.
being a 2-hour movie. And
And the amount of money we had to put into it, it was, that's where the audio issues come in. If you're doing the audio yourself, chances are, if you're not an experienced sound guy, you're probably not going to have good audio. And we didn't, I learned a lot from it, though. It was an expensive lesson. But I feel like I learned a lot from that. But
yeah,
I'll say this: I feel like I learned more from the Sawyer Massacre than I did even that film. So the Sawyer Massacre was one hell of a learning experience.
well, you had to deal with every element, everything that, like you said when we talked before, everything that could go wrong did go wrong on that shoot for
Yeah,
you guys.
we had
Whether
to be creative.
people backing out, just things that yeah. So I mean, that's always good to challenge yourself. I mean, and what came out was, it was a solid movie. I thought it was a really good movie, especially knowing all the issues you guys had that would be you and Scotty talked about. I thought that you were able to put it together well for the most part. I really enjoyed like I said, William Instone. I really enjoyed his role. He was a great grandpa was great in that film, and the stars. Actually, not just the stars, but Anika was great. But Alicia, I thought, had a great scream. I thought she was
Yeah.
fantastic. And William Instone, like I said before, Les Best was Grandpa. Bill Housekeeper as Drayton. He was really good. Sean Alexander. It was Sean Thompson. Sean Alexander Thompson. He's a great guy. I knew that. I was like, oh, I forgot he was in this film. So that
Yeah.
was cool to see him.
Can't forget about old Hank.
And old Michael McGlynn played Man. And that was good to see
Man,
Michael in there. It took me a little bit. Like,
I
there
kind
he
of
is.
wish I didn't label
So a
him as
lot of people
Man,
I know.
but he's in a Michael McGlynn
Yeah,
played
Michael
an
McGlynn's
implied
great.
character. I don't know if you saw that. I did a live stream a couple weeks ago now, 2 or 3 weeks ago now, after the movie came out, where I went into kind of details on everything. So Michael McGlynn essentially got to be the first kill, but it's implied that Michael McGlynn is playing the character of Brackett, who was the owner of the whole property that Grandpa lives on. It was meant to be implied. We didn't meant to be subtly implied, but there were some things we wanted to do to imply it more that we didn't get to do, unfortunately. So we just left him as man. But he is meant to be that person, that unspoken person. And you'll notice he's holding a document when he walks into the house. That's supposed to be
Yes.
a power disconnection notice. And we were supposed to see that later on in the movie, that exactly what it was, when Nika picks it up when she finds the crumpled piece of paper on the ground. However, at the time, I had lost the document. We were supposed to shoot that. Somehow the
Oops.
document got lost. Whoops! Like, I printed it out and everything. I think I found it after we had finished wrapping on the filming. But yeah, I found it.
I figured it'd be right after you were done with the scene. That's how it usually happens.
There's a part of me that still thought maybe I should just try to get a pickup shot of it, but whatever. It's all good. I mean, it's not like an overly needed thing, but like all that stuff with Hank, like Sean Thompson is Hank, and the document, and it's all supposed to tie to what's really going on there. Brackett was going to cut off the power. He's been paying for power to that house for years, sort of thing. Supposedly, maybe the Sawyers made a deal with him or something like that, and now he's threatened to cut it off, and he was going to cut it off, and they did cut it off, and now Hank's character reroutes the power back to it. So I mean, there was a lot of subtle stuff that I didn't get to explain in there, but it's there if you're really paying attention. A lot of stuff you really got to pay attention to. Again, in that live stream, I talked about Leatherface's masks and what personalities are meant to represent.
There was 3 of them, right?
4. It's actually 4. The first one,
4.
Yes,
okay.
The first one is actually the face of Michael McGlynn, who was subtly supposed to be Brackett, and so he's supposed to be taking on the role of a killer at that point. Again, there's more stuff we meant to subtly imply with the character of Brackett. I was going to do it through Dixie's dialogue at some point, have her say that Brackett was a mean old man. He killed a kid when he was, imply that he's a bit of an asshole and he killed a kid for going on his property, something like that. So you get that idea of the Brackett was not a nice guy. And so when Leatherface puts on that mask, he's not a nice guy. So then the second mask he wears is Josh Gurnick's, who played Bob in the movie. So he was, I guess, technically the first victim of the character victims when you first meet Leatherface in the basement. So that was his face. And the character of Bob, again, we were pretty subtle with it, is supposed to come off as kind of a joker. And even his fiance, when she's walking down the stairs, says, "Enough of your jokes, Bob." So again, subtle, but it's there. So when he's wearing that face, he's trying.
They
to
weren't
play
the brightest couple. I love beef jerky. I would have been fine. I think there's the delay, so I didn't want to cut you off, and I'm like trying to. Yeah. I love beef jerky, and I'm not following some creepy guy for some barbecue down a dirt road. There was something about that Rex guy I didn't trust. I was right. My instincts are strong.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust a guy like that.
No, that was I liked their chemistry. The couple, when they went in the house, they were pretty. His death was pretty. There was some brutal deaths, and you didn't, like you even said before. It's not like a gory. It's a lot of it subtle and hinted at. Now there are some gory moments. A few of the actors suffer. A few of the characters suffer from that are really cool. There was some
poor Gene. Man, I felt bad.
Yeah, there was definitely some suffering.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was definitely some suffering.
Yes, Gene didn't.
Gene didn't.
Yeah, he suffered.
I want to say hats off to Riley Michael Bell, who played Gene. Actually, he got some recognition the other day from some folks in Sweden, believe it or not, for his role as Gene. And I said, "Man, congrats! Like he's going to get a big interview in Sweden, like on a Swedish television network, and all this kind of stuff." And I've been kind of saying, yeah, Gene's been kind of underlooked. You know, Briley played the character very well, and the one thing I really think about Gene, as far as sort of our main group of characters goes, he's the one character that you don't really know anything about, but yet you still know who he is because of the way the actor portrays the character. So you don't really get a lot said about him, like you don't get to dive into his past or anything like that. But the way he carries himself tells you exactly who this guy is. And I think if we didn't have somebody as good as Briley playing that character, Gene could have fallen flat. And so, in my opinion, I think Gene has kind of been underlooked so far as some of the shining stars of the movie. In my opinion, of course, I mean, a lot of the cast was great. I mean, for the most part, we had great actors, and I can't knock any of them, especially with the schedule we're on. But props to Briley Michael Bell as Gene. Gotta give props.
Yeah, his character definitely was an important part for that movie to at least give
Oh,
some
definitely.
emotion and characters that you cared
Yeah.
about, and he was able to kind of get you to care about him, like you said, with not a lot of dialogue at first. I mean, you got to see that him and Jimmy were really close friends, and they were
Yep.
really like big brother little brother bond, and Jimmy having to watch what he had to go through. You know, you kind of felt it in a short amount of time because it's so hard, like you said, to put everything
Yeah,
together in
try to
one
cram
movie.
and get the story arc in there. So, I mean, like, the story arc for Jimmy really was, in the early part of the movie, he's down and he's got this survivor's guilt, that he blames himself for his girlfriend's death, for her killing herself after he broke up with her. And Gene is that guy that's there for him, saying it's not your fault and you can't blame yourself for all this stuff, and he's trying to pull him through that. And then it's a complete 180 when they're trapped in the basement, and Gene is now the one that feels responsible for getting them there, because he was the one that really wanted to go in that and check out that house, and was blaming himself in the basement. And Jimmy became the one saying, "Hey, you can't, you know, you got to get through this kind of thing now." So it was a complete 180. You can't blame yourself for that. There was no way you could have known. So I mean, I like that arc for Jimmy, because and he did the same thing with Allison too. So I mean, I think that's a good aspect of the film. I think the story arc for Jimmy was a good one. Even the story arc for there's a bit of an
Yeah,
arc for Allison is kind of a good one too. But I like how all the characters work within the realm of each other very well, and it was something I took me a long time to do. Uh, like, I remember before I actually came up with the true motivation of the Sawyer family in this film, because it was eating me up. I was like, I can't just make cannibalism be their only motivation. But I always had Allison as this very strong character, and it got to the point where I'm asking myself, well, why is she strong? What does her being a strong person have to do with the actual plot? And then I don't know how it came to me, and I thought, well, what if it's because she's strong enough to carry Leatherface's child? And when I came up with that aspect, I'm trying to remember exactly where it was. I was watching a podcast, like a YouTube podcast or something, and somebody was saying, "Where's all the women in this family, in this Sawyer family?" I think I can't remember what that was or anything, but I remember somebody saying that, and it was like, hmm, there's a point there. There's a point there. Got the brain thinking, I guess, and that's when I finally came up with this idea of, maybe they're going to use Allison to rape her and carry on the Sawyer name. So, um, I thought it was maybe too much at first to do something like that, but the more I was consulting people on it, the more it made sense. The more it made sense with the character of Allison, and it made sense within the Sawyer family, uh, for two reasons. Because it's something you could see them doing because they want to inbreed, and if there's no female Sawyers left, they would resort to other people. Um, and then it also made sense because I already wrote Allison as kind of a strong character, and it needed to make sense in that aspect. So yeah, I don't know. It's not everybody will get it, obviously, but I don't know. I think that was a cool aspect of the film. She really
Oh,
drives the plot
definitely.
of the film. Allison drives the plot. Jimmy drives the characters. That's the way I kind of look at it.
Yeah, yeah, and like you said, Briley did a great job though too, Gene, because that definitely he definitely had a big part of Jimmy's character and keeping him going. And like you said, the turnaround that when shit hits the fan, it was, it kind of kept Jimmy's head up where he, I guess, maybe had the strength at the moment to get through it, where he didn't
Yeah, he
before, and he
was.
felt weak
You
after
know,
that. So
both Gene and Allison kind of brought him up. Especially Allison
yeah,
before he goes in the house, and they had that moment with the thimble. Um, which was something I remember when I came up with that idea with the thimble. Um, I won't go into too many details on why we had the thimble and stuff like that, but there was multiple reasons. Um, at first, it was like meant to be like a pinky swear, but anyways. But that moment, she pulls him out, saying, keep this thimble, and you know until you're ready to give it to somebody else, which of course at the end turned out to be her. Isn't that a sweet? It really is a love story. It really is a
yeah, there was a love
love story of her.
story.
Yeah, a little bit of a
One
love
of
story
those,
that ended
one of those.
ended not so well.
Well, I don't want to give too much away either for people who haven't watched it, because it's definitely a fan film to check out on YouTube, and it's out there. And you're at what, 20,000 views yet, or 13,000? It was somewhere around there. Let me
No,
pull
we
it
got a
up.
lot more than that.
But
I
yeah,
believe it's closing on a
50.
33,000. 33,000 views
Yeah, it
now.
keeps going. Yeah, it's been killing it with the views. But I thought it was a really fun Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. The acting was strong. Some of the scenes were pretty brutal. Sarah Agnes Church is in it, who
Yeah, yeah.
had a small little cameo in it, and we're big fans of her here. And I'm looking up the Sawyer Massacre now. It's tell you how many views you have on it.
Let me know if it's hit
Because you know what, the first time I
33,000.
watched it, I've watched it a couple.
Yeah, watching it a couple
32,000
times.
still. 32,000. It
Still at
released 4 weeks
32,
ago.
close to 33, almost there.
Yeah, well, I
So,
watched it on my way home. You're like, oh, I was so I put it on, not like driving and watching it. So the first time I kind of subtly watched it because I
mhm.
was driving. I was just down a highway for 3 hours, so I kind of had the earbuds in and kind of listened to the story, which was actually a cool way to watch it. Because then when I saw the movie and visually watched it, I was able to really put it all together, and I
Oh,
was able
cool,
to
yeah.
catch some of the little things that you know. Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah, I've
was
heard some people
a
say
different experience for me to watch a movie.
there you go. I've heard some people say they pick up
But it
new
was
things every time they watch it. So I mean that somebody mentioned to me today that they've seen it 5 times and they're about to watch it for the sixth time. I'm like, wow, that's awesome. And I'm like, I hope you're picking up new
well,
things. And like, yeah,
it's been getting great reviews.
I'm surprised. I'm
But
surprised
Anthony
considering.
Jordan said, "I got to give everybody a high here." But Anthony Jordan, he said that yeah, it was great you guys implementing the different masks again. I think that was really
Yeah,
cool too.
it
Bill's
was
Creepy
important to me.
Vids is
It's
here.
to me, it's something that's an element of Leatherface. It's kind of been missing in a lot of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films. The mask taking on different personalities. And the most important mask is the last one, really, the last one. And if you don't know yet, the last mask he's wearing is the face of Henry, who played by Patrick Lascarbo, with the hair of Jenny De La Fuente, Mary Ellen, who plays his wife, and combining the two parents' faces together was to symbolize that he's taking on a parental figure. Again, going into our plot of him wanting to impregnate Allison and become a father. So that was the whole purpose of that mask. Again, I was very subtle with it in the delivery. It's maybe a little too subtle, I think sometimes. But hey, when you watch it now and you know that aspect of it, you know that each mask means a different personality. And if you can pick up each personality, then that's something cool. 4 masks though. I mean, we definitely I really wanted to touch on different personalities for Leatherface. So I would have done some things different now though, and after watching it, you know, and seeing the movie come together, especially with Bob's face, the Joker's, I call him the Joker. I would have done some of that stuff in the house when the boys are snooping around the house, and I would have had Leatherface really toy with them, you know, really kind of mess with them and make the guys think that it's actually Bob toying with them instead of Leatherface, you know, like they get a glimpse of the face. Oh, that's that guy we saw earlier, sort of thing. You know, I would have played up on that a lot more, but hey, you know, you get the idea at least. But I think there would have been some cool chances for some good suspense though with that though as well. So, but yeah, that was important to me. The different masks for Leatherface was really important to me. Something the other movies miss, and I think it's important. I think that is an important aspect to the character. So that's why I did it. That is why I did it.
Well, one of the questions, and I've heard you now from talking with you, is this one of the things you learned, and you think it was, you said a lot of times you were trying to do things subtle and you kept it too subtle so it wasn't too obvious. Was that really hard to balance out? Is that like one of the things you
Ooh.
just like, oh, maybe I should have done a little more to make it not so subtle
Yeah,
not
I think
obvious, but
I know what you mean. I know what you
but
mean.
leave those the breadcrumbs a little bit more.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally know what you mean, John. And it was a hard thing to predict. Some of the things that came off too subtle uh, was a lot of it was due to the locations that we were filming at. I had planned to shoot things quite a bit different. I mean, at a certain point, I ended up throwing out my shot list because it was not matching up with what the locations were meant to look like. So I mean, you might think, oh, the locations look great, and you know they do look good. Grandpa's house does look good, but it's totally different than what I was seeing in my visions and what I was making on my shot list and all this kind of stuff. So that was where I kind of ran into trouble with the subtlety because I wanted to be subtle, but the locations made me have to be even more subtle. You know, I had to play within the realm of, you know, what those locations were allowing me. And then there was also the Leatherface masks, even though they look really cool. The fact is that we needed more time to make them to really make them look more like the actors that they were life cast after. So I think that like if you can see that were life casts of those actors, if you can see that those are those characters' faces, I think the subtlety comes, becomes a little bit more obvious at that point, and it probably would have been just right. But I think a lot of people that see this movie probably don't realize that those are all characters that were in the movie. Each face that he wears were characters in the movie. And they probably think they're just random faces. I mean, I've heard a couple people say that the last mask he wears is supposed to be like the Pretty Woman mask from the original, and it's not. It's not at all. But yeah, I mean, little things like that. You know, it's so tough. And had I been able to go to Texas like a month before, or probably 2 months really, and really look at the locations and look at what I had to work with, I would have had time to fix those things that I knew were going to come across too subtle. But I can't complain overall. You know, I mean, certain things are going to go right over people's. Even the ending is going over some people's heads. You know, I thought the ending was, I think I felt our ending was almost too on the nose when I came up with the idea of the ending. Or the original ending I had didn't have the baby scream. And when I thought of the baby scream, I thought, well, that makes it too definitive. And I'm somebody who loves ambiguity. Give me the ambiguity. Give me that ending that's going to make like, does that mean that? Or does that mean that? You know, I love those types of endings. So when I came up with it, I thought, okay, that makes it obvious that Leatherface got them and impregnated her, and she gave birth to Leatherface's baby. That to me was so obvious. But then the more I thought about it, there was other options there's other things that baby scream could mean. If you're a positive thinker, maybe they did get away. They went to Canada and they had a baby there. It's possible. It's highly unlikely, but it's possible, right? So that's why I was okay with ultimately the baby screaming, and of course when consultants were reading the script and they saw that baby screaming at the end, it was like, whoa, that's powerful. And I think it is. I do think it is power. I'm glad I did go that route because I was torn on it for the longest time. Now I'm like so glad I did. Also because it was my little baby boy that did that baby scream at the end. So he got to be a star. He got the last laugh of the
It was a
film.
natural scream. He wasn't even acting, huh? He wasn't even
I
acting.
know.
You
Wasn't
just
even
caught him at
acting.
the right time. Natural.
He doesn't know
El
what acting
natural.
is. I knew exactly
Yeah.
what I had to do to make him cry, and and had the recorder ready, had GarageBand ready on my computer. Yeah, that's how we
Son's
do it
already a
here.
movie star now.
Son's already a movie star.
And CJ
Exactly.
loved the masks. CJ
Oh, hey
Vecchio loved
CJ,
the
how you doing?
masks.
You love the
I
masks. That's
enjoyed them
great.
too.
That's
I
great.
thought they were good too.
I can't wait to see the masks. I don't know how many masks you're using for Leatherface in yours, whether it might just be one. But I saw that teaser you did. I saw him pulling the face off. I think that's great. I mean, it's much more graphic than anything in my film. We do that. We kind of do that in our film. We have him pull off Brant's face, but we don't see very much of it. And because it's implied that he's still alive when it happens. And that was sort of our irony kill, I guess you would call it, the irony kill, because Brant said, if anything ever happened to this face, I'd probably kill myself. So it was kind of ironic that Leatherface cuts his face off, puts it on, and then kills him with the chainsaw. So it's kind of like Brant is watching himself kill himself. You know what I mean? See the irony there?
Yes.
I love it. I love stuff like that. But,
Yes.
probably went way over
That
some
was a
people's
question. I
heads.
don't know if it was for me or you, but that was my favorite kill in the movie.
It was,
Duper
eh?
was our good, yeah, our good buddy here, Pupo
I
Das.
do.
What was your favorite kill? I'm not. I'm guessing he's asking both of us, but mine was the Brant one too. I really
Boy,
like that kill the best.
I think
I
on
think it was just
paper,
brutal.
the Brant one is my favorite. When I see it in the movie, it's not quite as good as I wanted it to be. I think there was at least a couple extra shots I wanted to get in that scene. One being I wanted to get a shot from while his face is being cut. I wanted to get a shot below the table, facing up at Leatherface, doing it, just getting the motions, and maybe get a piece of me and just kind of get him doing this. See that face being lifted
Yeah.
off, something like that. Anyways, and same with the chainsaw. One kind of get the same Leatherface perspective. While he's getting chainsawed to death. Actually getting to see that face while the chainsaw is going into him. But hey, it's still a pretty powerful kill, I have to say. I think it is. I think it's more disturbing because of what their friends, what Jimmy and Gene are having to see right in front of them. But if I
Yeah,
was
I
to
think
pick a
that's what
favorite
that made
kill,
it for me.
yeah, I can see that. That does make it more powerful. For me, this is a tough one as far as favorite kill. But for some reason, it gets me when the two girls get killed. The two young girls get killed right in front of their mother, even though there's no blood on screen. It's a totally off-screen kill. But seeing the reaction that Jenny De La Fuente gave as the mother after that, I don't know. To me that was something. We didn't nail it exactly like I wanted in the script, but mostly that was due to time. There was definitely a couple shots I wanted to get there, but we didn't. But that's okay. But yeah, the reaction from Jenny De La Fuente in that scene just sells it to me. Um, that was a great moment. I remember getting that shot, and she needed some time. We just kept the camera rolling on it. She needed some time to get into it, to get her facial expressions. And when you got that facial expression of hers, she's just in shock. I don't know. To me, that even though it's an off-screen kill, gets to the feelies.
Yeah, well, Lorraine's really got to me, to tell you the truth.
Lorraine's and that was changed
because
from
just a lot of it was her screaming and
Mhm.
her action. Like, she did a really good job of just absolute feeling and fear and desperation of just trying to, like, not be brought into a row. You could
Yeah,
just tell that one. It's not so much the kill, but just the what led to everything going in a bad
yeah,
direction for her. And she knew what was going on because
and
it did.
that's
And that
really
had a lot
funny
to do
that
with her,
I know
with the screaming.
that
She had a good
her
scream. She had a great scream.
her kill, the idea of how she gets killed with the table vice came very, very last minute. I was brainstorming because I knew that the original way that we wanted to kill her off was never going to happen. And I made this decision about a month before filming. I sent our props guy off to have a look to see if there's any chance that we could make this work, and it wasn't. She was supposed to get burned to death, cooked to death, I should say, in an oven, in like a giant Holocaust style oven. Is how she gets
Hansel and
killed in the
Gretel.
script, kind of like that. But yeah, she was supposed to get killed at that dinner table scene with Grandpa, and she was supposed to get dragged out there and thrown into an oven in that scene, and we couldn't do it. We are the means to get an oven like that was
Well,
impossible.
yeah, and I imagine to make it look right. Yeah, not just the oven, but also to get her in there. And I mean, that's not an easy one to pull off, or a cheap special
It's
effect
not.
to
It's not.
to
And
do.
Leatherface is supposed to pull her out later, and she's all blistered and
Yeah,
stuff. That would have been hours and hours of special effects. So I mean, it was cool in theory,
in
but
theory,
if we had the actual budget, if
then
we
maybe,
had
yeah,
like $1 million budget, sure. We we didn't have that kind of a budget, so the table vice was something I always kind of had in the back of my mind. It'd be kind of cool to see Leatherface just crush somebody's head in a table vice. And so
yeah,
when we knew that one
that was
fell
a good.
through, I was like, I set the word out to our props guy, we need a table vice. Get us a table vice. And he got us a table vice, which we wasn't his. He had to borrow it from somebody. So that's why, if anybody's wondering why aren't you selling the table vice on the Indiegogo campaign, that's why. It's not actually ours. Plus the shipping on that thing would be a fortune because it weighs a ton.
Ton.
So if anybody did get it, they'd probably have to pay like $2,000 or something like that, something insane, because the shipping would be too much. But that thing was heavy. That thing was heavier than the chainsaw. I know that. The chainsaw was freaking heavy.
Yeah,
But Scotty could get that over his head, no problem. He couldn't get the table vice over his head. It was a 2-person job to get that table. It was a big table vice. Yeah. But
we
we
had
did
to fit a
it.
head in there.
What's that? Yeah, we had to,
CJ's,
exactly. We had to fit
yeah,
ahead.
CJ's saying one face, one mask, one face. Heather Harlow. I'm not sure
Oh,
if
Heather
Heather's
Harlow.
coming on the show with them, CJ. So I don't know
Oh,
if
cool.
Heather's playing a female Leatherface, which would be kind of cool. But
That's probably
or
her
she's
face that
making the
got ripped
mask.
off.
Oh, yeah, it could be. Okay, so it's her face. They're
That'd be
actually
cool.
coming on next Saturday, I believe. Saturday. Uh, CJ, CJ Heather and Brett Wagner. I believe it's Saturday.
Oh,
I got to
cool.
double check. I got to make my schedule. But I already know the answer to this one because I know Steve, and there's only one he
Oh, come on,
appreciates.
CJ.
Is what's his favorite?
You were on we were all on Doomsday's Crypt when with
Yeah,
Brett Wagner.
yeah,
I feel
with
like
Brett. That was
I
a fun.
kind of
That
feel
was a
like
fun stream.
It was a fun stream.
actually
I
that was our
was
Pupo Das recommended.
yeah, I was actually afraid to give a rating to the remake because I knew it'd be kind of low on my. I mean, it's high compared to the other ones, but it's nowhere near the original. So the original
Plus, yeah, the
is and
Kemper
always will be
Killer
number one.
himself. Yeah,
Yeah,
the Kemper Killer himself, Brett. And he's a
yeah.
big
When
dude. You didn't want him traveling, and he just got back from Canada, so luckily you didn't piss him off because he might have came there. He'd come brings those sledgehammers and a
I didn't
chainsaw.
know he was. Where
He
in
was in
Canada was he?
Ontario,
Oh,
by
okay,
not Ontario, the Niagara Falls. He was right
nowhere
by
near
there. He had a
me.
great room. Oh, okay. So
Nowhere
you
close to
don't feel
me.
bad then.
Oh,
Uh,
he messaged me. He messaged me not long ago saying I, if you're making another movie, I'd like to be in it or something. So,
yeah,
hey, that's a pretty cool compliment to get from him.
Brett's a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said
Well,
it to
we'll
me
see when we make
either
that happen.
on one of my last streams or when I was talking to him because I talked to him quite a bit. Brett's a really good dude. CJ
Yeah,
said
he
he
is.
would have remembered what you said on that stream, but he was drunk.
As a skunk. Were you? I didn't notice. I didn't notice.
Michael Toth, shout out to his boy G Easy and Cell 242 at PCCJ. And CJ
Okay.
saying, love Brett. I know Brett loves CJ himself. He had really great things to say about CJ when I've talked to CJ, to Brett on the phone and stuff. And he's like, yeah, CJ is great. He really enjoyed working for CJ. And he has
It
mentioned
must
to
have been
me, and I
awesome.
believe it was on a live stream. Yeah, it was last week's live stream. Um,
Oh, cool.
I'm telling you, I'm getting Alzheimer's, Steve. I forget things. It
Oh,
was
man,
last
I
weekend
hear
when he
you,
was
man.
on, and we were talking about movies, and he mentioned that he'd love to be in one of yours, and we were talking about CJ, and he was talking about a few people he'd love to work with, and you were definitely up there with
Well,
the
that's
with the
awesome.
conversation. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
cool
I
to
know he's
know.
a fan of you.
Well, I'm glad
Um,
I'm guessing he liked the movie then. I mean, I'm guessing he liked our
yeah,
film, but or maybe he just liked the style of filmmaking. I don't know. Who knows? But
I think he respected your visions too. I think on that live stream.
that's good. That's good to know. That's good to
I
know.
mean, I don't know. I
You know,
can't speak for him, but I
yeah.
know from him he'd love to work with you. He
Hey,
has
and
mentioned
you
that.
know what? Hey, I am hard on the remake. I'm not gonna lie. A little harder on the remake than I feel like I should be.
Yeah,
I think I'm hard on the remake because there's certain things about it that I love so much, but then there's other things about it that I hate so much, and it's like
you
the
love the Kemper
contrast
kill.
is.
That's all you need to say. And you're good with Brett. You love the Kemper kill. That was your favorite scene in
there's a
any
I
Texas
mean,
Chainsaw Massacre.
my
No, that
favorite.
is a
I
great
think
scene, though. It's a
it
good
is.
one.
It is good. It is a good scene, but Leatherface needs to take off those potato sacks, though. I don't know
Yeah,
what the costume design for Leatherface. I don't know.
you didn't
I don't
like it,
feel
huh?
it. It doesn't feel real. I guess you could say. Feels like they tried to turn Leatherface into Frankenstein or something like that, a monster, rather than like that's why the original is so powerful. As soon as
Yeah,
Leatherface comes on screen, that's a real
he
dude in
owns it.
Texas. You say
Yeah,
that like, oh my god, that guy exists
yeah,
in Texas, and I'm gonna run into that guy. I just don't get that same feeling when I uh when I see the Leatherface in the remake or pretty much almost any other film in the franchise, to be honest. So it's not just the
yeah.
remake, but
I know you're not a
man,
big fan of any of the sequels.
R. Lee
Yeah,
Ermey was man. If there's two things I love about the remake, R. Lee Ermey to me was scarier than Leatherface,
yeah.
and the intro of the movie with John Larroquette's narration, the police footage, like that stuff had
The
me. And
nails
then
going down
the
the stair. Yeah, I really like
yeah, when they're
that
going
too.
down
I
those
did
stairs,
enjoy that.
it's probably one of the things that inspired me to have a basement in my movie. I didn't
Yeah,
realize how rare basements actually are in Texas.
Texas.
They're
You
super,
found out
super
fast.
rare. I did.
You found out fast.
We had to drive 2.5 hours to get to our basement, because it was and we had to construct it to make it look old and everything like that, to make it look, like a
And
dungeon,
you said they still got it like left the same or
yeah,
something. They
he
haven't
left it the
touched it.
same. He's got yeah, he wants to keep it the
He's proud
same.
of it.
Yeah, I think he
That's
wants to do
cool.
tours and stuff like that. Tour the
Yeah,
Sawyer Massacre
why not?
basement. So hey, you know,
Hey, if he can make some bucks off it, hey, that's always a good thing. That was a pretty
definitely not
cool
a bad
basement.
thing.
I
That's
did
for
like the
sure.
look of the basement. I did like that, and
Yeah, it
I,
had some work
I
done.
think Poopa
It's
wants
not
to
what it
know
originally looked like.
what's your favorite Leatherface look from the entire franchise. No, you just pretty much said it. The remake look is your favorite.
What?
I'm
No, I didn't.
joking. No, what's your favorite look?
um, I probably still, I probably still go with the Pretty Woman
Yeah,
face from the original. It's close between that and the first mask he wears in the original, the killing mask. It's
yeah. The
close.
Killing
It's
Mask is
close.
great, but the Pretty
There's
Woman is
something
just such an
eerie about
iconic
that.
mask.
It is. It is.
It's a
Yeah.
staple. I mean, I know he wears different masks for everything, but the Pretty Woman is just, I don't know, it's such an iconic mask for the original, and all. It really sets the tone, I think, for all the Leatherface masks in any movie. In a sense, that I got to say the Pretty Woman myself.
Oh, there you go. We agree on something there.
Yeah, well, every once in a while something
I think we
happens.
had some cool masks in our film though too. Although I
I
mean,
thought you did
again,
too. I did like the one
they
that
were
was hanging. That
rushed.
was, yeah,
I like the
they
face that
weren't.
was hanging.
Yeah, yeah, that was pretty sweet. It looked good in there. It looked pretty wet and fresh.
Yeah, that's what I was
Um,
really going for. A lot of the wet, fresh kind of. Again, like even with the masks that Leatherface wears in our film, it's implied that 3 out of 4 of them were just freshly cut off, even though you don't really see it happening. Although you do see him putting together the final mask he's wearing.
yeah,
But yeah, so it's implied that each mask is pretty fresh, other than the first mask he wears. So we aged that one a little bit. We gave that kind of a grayish tone to it to make you think that it's a few days old, or at least a few days old. So yeah, but other than that, every mask is pretty fresh.
yeah.
Excuse me.
CJ's a Pretty Woman guy too. I think that's the
There is something
consensus.
creepy about that.
3-0. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
well, like I said, it's iconic too. I had the one
it
hanging up
is. It
too. I
is.
got a really nice
Yeah.
Pretty Woman, but yeah, it's tough because all the Leatherface masks and different ones, they all look so different. A lot of them, like any film, you could
Oh,
tell
I
what
know.
film it's from because they're so different.
Yeah,
Um,
they're all very. The Leatherface looks have really varied over the years. Some I like
yeah,
more than others. Some of them I don't like at all. Some of them I'm like,
yeah,
that doesn't look scary. It looks goofy rather than scary. But
mm, yeah, yeah. Oh, I can agree on that. I mean, I don't even want to pick on it so much, but not the first Leatherface movie, the original Leatherface part, but the second one, that has to be my least favorite mask look in the whole series. But
Texas
Michael
Chainsaw
Toast,
Massacre 2 or oh
no, not
better
two,
start.
no, the
Oh,
Leatherface. There's
Leatherface.
two Leatherfaces,
Okay.
not the third one, not Texas Chainsaw Massacre
Okay.
3
I see what you
Leatherface,
mean.
the other Leatherface from
The
2000.
one that just came out
Yeah,
2017, right?
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wasn't a big fan of that mask. And I like the movie
Barely
more than most
saw it.
people
I don't
do.
I
It
don't
was
know.
some,
I hated that movie.
yeah. I didn't. It had potential. I liked the first part of it, and then it just got bad. But Michael Toast telling me I better start eating them squid brains makes my memory come better. Your memory better. Word on the street. So if that's the
Word on
word
the
on the
street.
street, that's the only doctors I ever use. So I'm going to start buying a
Yeah.
bunch of squid, stink up the houses, and make sure I got them just stocked up. Take everything out of the fridge, just squid for me. Um,
I love it.
oh,
Peter Anthony, there you go, man.
Peter Anthony, yes, yes.
Aw.
Uh, Two of his favorite people. Peter's coming on soon, also. He'll be
There you
on, and
go.
I'm looking forward to have him on. That's going to be the first time I've had Peter on. I got to see him at Scarefest. It was really cool, and I got to. He took home his roseblood cutout, and he really loved it. Michael Toth did it, and he was spot on with that piece. That piece came out sick,
Awesome.
so that was a cool one. Um, Steve told me in private the three different masks and the meanings really cool.
4
Yeah,
different
Steve's
masks. I don't know if I
four
told you all
different
4.
masks.
I can't remember, but there is 4. There is
You
4. I
start
I
eating
actually
this.
even posted a promo somewhere with each mask, and I can't remember, a few weeks ago,
Well, if you're
and what
having
each
trouble
mask
remembering
represents.
things,
The first
word on
mask
the
is the
street.
killer. First mask is the killer. The second one is the Joker. The third is the pretty boy, and the fourth is the family provider, which is the most important one for the plot, anyways. Plot wise, the family provider is definitely the most important.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say if you're having trouble with memory, word on the street is them squid brains is good for you.
Yeah.
Heard that from a reliable source, Michael Toth.
Very
Yeah,
reliable.
he's
Better than a
yes.
doctor's advice, for sure.
Are you going to take a doctor's advice or your artist's advice? I take my artist's
Most
advice.
quacks, eh? Yeah, I don't go see quacks.
Yeah, Peter does love the cutout, and according to you guys, what went wrong with Netflix TCM movie 22? It used the name Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I thought it was a pretty good movie. I really like Mark Burnham as Leatherface and as a slasher. I thought bringing back now I need some squid. You know, uh, God, what's her name from the first film that they brought in to get killed, and like picking her up with the chainsaw and letting her go, and just
Sally,
oh
yeah,
my
Sally.
goodness, just
Okay. I'll talk
I
about
mean
it.
I mean there was some good. I enjoyed it as a film, as
Oh,
a slasher film. I wasn't
I
bored. I
I
thought that
agree. I agree.
the
However,
the bus,
I have
yeah,
I have if you're gonna
it was a
look at it as
terrible
a
Texas
Texas
Chainsaw
Chainsaw,
Massacre movie,
exactly.
but it was a fun
To an extent,
slasher.
there is certain aspects of it that make a good Texas Chainsaw Massacre film.
Yes,
Uh, One being, holy crap, we got a massacre in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. About freaking time, because I mean, realistically, have we ever really had a true massacre in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film? Not really. Maybe the beginning had enough to call him. I consider a massacre 10 plus victims. That at least
yeah.
that's my definition.
Well,
It's
the bus alone was
gotta be double
handled
digits.
that.
Oh yeah,
The
the
bus
bus scene
alone was the
alone.
dumbest scene I've ever seen in my life, and the best scene
Dumbest,
I've seen in a
but the
long
best.
time. It was such a
Um,
mixture of so bad but so awesome at the same time.
but okay, so as far as I enjoyed the film for what it was. It wasn't very long. It was just a ride. It was a ride. The movie was a ride. You were meant to kind of go into it and turn your brain off. And I think it did well in that regards. But there's a big part of me that wants to see them try to be serious and make something scary again. And I just don't feel like they tried to do that at all. Because the logistics of the things that happened in that movie. I mean, sure, I mean you can suspend your disbelief for certain things. I mean, even in our film, in the Sawyer Massacre, there's certain things like, okay, will that really happen? To an extent, but not to the extent of, Leatherface taking a bunch of shotgun hits and still being all right, and even getting hit by his own chainsaw, cut with his own chainsaw, and he's still alive after all that. It's not nowhere near to that extent. So I mean, the movie, I've said this before, this movie really defied science. Hugely defied science. But it was just a fun ride. But
Yeah,
I for one just want to see a scary, an attempt at scary. At least I can say the remake attempted to do that. That's one thing I can give the remake. It attempted to do that, and there are some genuinely scary scenes in that remake. I think
I
some of
like
the
the
other scenes
remake.
bring it down, but yeah, and
I
that's cool.
listened to
I mean,
look at
again, I'm
this.
hard on it.
Guys, look at us.
Oh, we
Yes.
got the spam.
Oh, now
Oh,
I know they
love
hit
it.
the big time. Guys, who
I'm
needs
glad
a
I'm not the
date?
only one that gets that on his streams.
It's the
I'm
first
certainly
time
glad
you
I'm not.
brought it. They came for you
I
because
brought
they
it.
know you bring the guys looking for dates.
That's hilarious. You seriously never had this spam on your channel before?
No, I haven't. I know everybody got lucky. No, but I've been waiting for these. I've been
Aye.
looking for a great adult dating site. It's like, what's better to do? Stream and find dates. I can open up another window and find some dates. Thank you, girl 69 XYZ. Oh yeah.
XYZ. I love it.
Mike,
I love
s-
it.
let's get on that. All right.
I
All
kinda
right.
miss the
So,
trolls now. I mean, I get the spam on my but I don't get the trolls anymore. I mean, I used to get the
all you,
trolls all the time, and now
yeah,
I don't get them, unfortunately, where they just the
I
trolls
could come
would
by and
always say
troll
s
you if you need me to. If you need me to
"Ah,
come by and
yeah,
troll your channel a little bit anytime you go
there you
live,
go.
I'll change my name to old Big Schnoz over here
Big
and
schnoz,
start
yeah, that's perfect." Big
Big Schnoz John. Uh, but
ah,
yeah, I'm gonna address something because I was doing a giveaway, a free giveaway.
ooh,
All people had to do was like and comment. I had it up for days. I got up to 15. It's like, you know what? Forget it. I'm closing it. And I was gonna give people a choice of the the Night Scare on Elm Street 4, the Doomsday Script exclusive VHS box with Michael Toth's
ooh,
autograph
cool.
that's filled inside with cool stuff. Now, this is free to enter as long as you're in the United States. And unfortunately, you're in Canada. But if you
Oh,
are in Canada and you want to split the difference, if you want to enter, you are welcome to. And we also got the Crypt Master or the Crypt Keeper, where I take over the
ooh,
crypt. And this is a badass box with some really, really cool stuff in it. But what I was going to do, I ended
alright.
at 15. I was going to give somebody a choice of one or the other. And then, whoever won, I was shipping it out to them. We're going to set up around. But what I'm going to do, since Peter Anthony's asking about, if we get 5 more people tonight, I'm going to pick 2 winners. There's going to be a winner. There's going to be 2 winners in a 20-person raffle out of my pocket to say thank you to everybody in Doomsday's Crypt. I wanted to do a 2,000 giveaway. We're at 2,200 now. I'm a little hurt that 20 people don't even want to enter a free raffle, but if we can get 20 people, there's 5 spots left. The next 5 people will have a choice. The first person picked, they'll get a choice between this one and this one, and then the second one will get the one the other person doesn't pick. So there's
Doesn't
going to be two
choose.
winners at 20. I think that's a pretty good odds of winning. These things
Not bad.
are stacked with some good stuff, and they're limited. Like once we're done with these runs, we start a new art thing. So I think they're really cool collectible pieces. And if you want to really decrease the value, I'll even sign them for you. I'll even put my signature if somebody wants it on it. That's fine. But yeah, check it out. It's a Doomsday's Crypt group. You could, how much cash do you win? I'll make some Doomsday's Crypt cash. $20 bills of Doomsday's Crypt cash. That'd actually be kind of cool when I do open the shop. Put some Doomsday's Crypt cash so you can take a few bucks off and earn some Doomsday's Crypt cash. We'll think about something like that. I like it. So five
Why
more
make
people
$20
and
bills when you could make $1 million
one.
bills?
Tell you what, for every $500, I will give you $1 million in Doomsday's Crypt cash. Now, it's very expensive in Doomsday's Crypt cash to buy something like this. Is probably $7 million Doomsday Crypt cash thing. I mean, it's big money there in Doomsday Crypt cash. But just kidding.
I
Um,
know.
yeah, I mean, these are I don't see us making more. We're going to do the Leatherface ones because there's a few people that wanted them. The Leatherface ones were hot. I got a few more of these. I got one. I'm going to send Mike one of each of these because there is art on them. But I only got a few more left, and that's it. Once that run's done, we're working on new art for more. So,
There you
trying to
go.
keep these ultra limited, especially at first. And if Doomsday's Crypt can keep growing, maybe these things will actually be worth $5-6 extra compared to what you paid for them. I'm just kidding,
There
but
you
they're
go.
really cool things. I'd show you what's inside, but it's a mystery. But no, there's
Who
some
doesn't
cool
love a
stuff,
good
keychain
mystery?
stickers. Hey, it just the art covers alone are sick that Michael Toth did. Oh. Okay, you like and commented, and
Yeah.
I'm opening this up because of the people who did follow through. So now I'm adding that extra prize. We'll fill that up with 5 more people, and I'll probably schedule next weekend to do the drawing so everybody knows who's here. I was going to do it Sunday, but I don't want to schedule it and something comes up. But I figure right after Thanksgiving, it'll be a Black Friday raffle that somebody's going to win something extra for Thanksgiving, or 2 people now if we can get 5 more people.
Pretty
So
sweet.
yeah, pretty sweet stuff. So we're at an hour already. I know it's late night for you. You're an hour ahead of me. I'm going to leave you with the final
Yeah.
words. I just want to say congratulations
Thanks,
for the
man.
Sawyer Massacre and getting it filmed and all the praise you're getting for the movie. Well deserved. I know it was a tough filming. Let me get off
Very tough.
XYZ. I want people paying attention to us, not this awesome spam site of dating. I don't want people going and start their dating now. Wait till after the stream to start dating.
After the stream, exactly.
After the stream. So a lot of people are really digging the movie. I thought you did a great job, especially knowing what you went through to try to get it filmed and all the obstacles you had and just everything that went into that. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong for it, and I think you pulled it off very well. And
Well, I appreciate
congratulations to
that.
you.
Thanks,
I know you
man.
had so much fun. Congratulations to the cast, the crew, the guys behind the camera, everybody who put in a lot of heart and soul and sweat and tears into this movie. And you hitting 33,000 hopefully by tonight or tomorrow. And
Well, I'll be a
what's
little disappointed if we don't hit tonight. Well, I won't be. I mean, I'm super excited that we've hit that many. I mean, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is not Friday the 13th, so I don't expect to hit 1 million views or anything like that. But I set a goal of trying to hit 50,000 views by the end of the year. I think there's a good chance we'll hit that. I think that's a pretty good
oh
odds that we'll hit that. So I'm happy with that for sure. I'm happy that the vast majority of people like the movie. It's of course, yeah, you're not going to please everybody, and I never ever set out to make a movie to please everybody because you can't. Don't no any filmmaker out there, and I know guys like Peter obviously know this. You can't please everybody. You'll never please everybody. You're gonna get some hate on your film. I've had some hate on my film. I don't mind,
if you try to
and
please everybody, you're going to produce a bad film. You're not going to produce the
exactly,
one you want.
exactly.
So
So
yeah.
then as far as negative comments go, I mean most of the people that had issues with the film have been pretty respectful about it. I will say that the majority, some people haven't, but some people always want to bash your film, whatever. But I mean, I've heard a few people say, the it kind of dragged for me, whatever. It's a bit of a slow burn, I guess. I guess it is. I don't know. There's some minor audio issues here there. I don't think that's a real overall knock on the film, but yeah, I mean, there's a couple scenes we had to film in a location that had a loud generator, and we were putting all these sound blankets over top of the generator, but you can still kind of hear it in there. There's a bit of a hum in the background in a couple of the scenes, but hey, that's indie filmmaking for you when you do the best you can. We had great audio. We had a great sound recordist on set, though. We got him for a steal. I'll say that. I still can't believe he lowered his price that much, considering the resume he had. But I mean, overall, I'm happy with the film. I'm probably my own worst critic. I can probably look at if I could go back and change stuff, I would. This was not a film that I really had the luxury of doing that, especially since we shot it in Texas and I'm in Western Canada. It's just I didn't have that luxury, and it's kind of too bad that I didn't have that luxury because I would do it if I could. I would. There's definitely a few things I would change, but I mean, ultimately, the majority of the people seem to like it. So I guess we made a decent enough film. I think we're still holding something like a 7.2 on IMDb. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't expect that. And at one point I think at one point we hit like 8.3. I was like, what? We have an 8.3 on IMDb. I think
I think
at
that's
that
where
point
I
we only
said
had
you
like
heard your hair. Like I didn't even
yeah.
give it a 8.3 myself. I thought,
Yeah, I
yeah,
said
I
something
mean,
like that. I only gave it an 8, which is and that's
yeah,
me even still kind of being like, is it really an 8? Is it really that good?
I thought it was for indie. I always use that measure of, you got a budget. You only got so much, time to do things. Like you said, you were in Texas. It's not like you were down the street. It was really important
Yeah,
to you to get to
exactly.
Texas and film
It
it, and you were
was.
able to do that. And things
It
didn't
was
go right,
important.
and you were on a
Yeah.
time frame. And I know even before the movie was released, when you came on with Scotty, and you had mentioned that there was so much more you wanted to do, but time and situations didn't allow it. unfortunately, and budget.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not cheap to film a
yeah.
movie, and
And the
especially
weather
with
didn't
what you
help us
did.
either. We lost a day to film of filming because of the weather. So we would have had 10 days of filming it, if the weather cooperated. But anyways, we still made the we
Yeah,
still made the
I
film.
think it came out for an indie film, a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. The vibe, the tension, a really cool prequel that kind of lays the foundation leading into what year did that take? Like 8 years before the Texas
8 years
Chainsaw
before, yeah.
Massacre. And so it kind of laid the foundation, even for Drayton, who's kind of has I don't want to say a minor role, but an important role, kind of where he was 8 years before compared to at the moment. And I really enjoyed the Rex character, and I am looking forward. I do want to reach out to William Instone because I heard
You
that
should. You
movie
should.
he sounds like he's on a roll with the
Yeah.
Sawyer Massacre playing Rex, and then his new movie that Ryan had said is just amazing. Like he reached out to me. Ryan never reaches out to me. He's like, that movie's awesome. I just saw an early
Oh, that's
screening. You got
awesome.
to reach out to him. So
I
yeah,
gotta see it now. William's a
yeah,
great
yeah,
guy. I
yeah,
mean, he was so awesome to work with on set, and came in very handy on set too because of his filmmaking knowledge, and he had a really good generator that was just awesome for um, charging batteries and stuff like that. So William was a lifesaver in many situations. I gotta say. I'm out
yeah.
having a
And
night, Dad. Hey,
he was
thanks,
like a
thanks
last
for
minute
Peter.
casting. Yeah, yeah. He was a
He
last minute
was.
thing,
He
right?
was.
So
He very, very much the character of Rex went through lots of different casting options, actually. I mean, when we started promoting the film, we had Michael Vincent Barry cast as the character, and he had to leave because he was SAG. He became a SAG actor. He got a SAG card and had to leave. So I had to recast, and like literally a week or two after I lost Michael, Ed Neal responded to a message I had left him like a year ago and say, "Yes, I am interested." I'm like, "Oh, we'll get you in to play Rex then," But unfortunately, I also found out he was SAG, so
yeah,
that ended up falling through as well.
how cool would it have been to see? I mean, I think
That would have
Michael
been pretty
kill.
cool.
William. That would have been cool to see him with the young hitchhiker. That would have just been kind of
That would have been
ironic
cool.
to see.
It would have.
Yeah, that would have been.
Yeah, it would have.
But but
It
but
is what it
William
is.
did
It's
an
all good.
amazing job as Rex. I think
Yeah.
he uh he really stole the scenes when he was there. He really did a great job.
Yeah, a lot
So
of people
big props
really
to him.
enjoy his. A lot of people enjoy his performance, and it's funny because he's totally not what I saw the character as far as his appearance goes. I wrote when I wrote the character, I had two people in mind, and again, hey, I pay homage to the remake where I see fit, but he was kind of written around the Arlie Ermy sheriff character. I kind of wrote him based on that, and then I melded him with the character from Prison Break, Teabag, that slimy, that slender, slimy kind of guy. So I was picturing somebody like that, and in fact, my casting director I work with here in Western Canada, Angela Quinn, I asked her if she would see if Robert Nepper, the guy who played Teabag in Prison Break, would do it. And I think just to see if he would say yes, we offered him 10 grand. Said, yeah, 10 grand for like 2 days of filming, and he turned it down. It took him a week to turn it down, but that was who I was originally seeing
I'm
to play the
surprised. 2
character.
days, 2 days for 10 grand is a pretty nice payday.
Oh,
But
for
yeah,
somebody
you do
like
try.
him though,
Yeah,
somebody
but
like
still.
yeah, he is a high prolific actor. I mean,
Did you
his work
tell him John
across
from
the board.
Doomsday's Crypt was an associate producer?
I hadn't met you at that time. I hadn't met you
I'm
at that. This
just,
was this was back in 2019.
who? Who
Who?
who the fuck
I
is
met you in
that?
2020. I met you in 20. I met you last year. I've only known you for about a
Yeah,
year and
like
a
a
half.
year or so ago. It's all yeah, yeah.
Year and
It
a
was
half. Year and a
right
half.
before Phantasm, right? I mean, and I'll say it again. A lot of the reason I'm doing what I'm doing was Steve really pushed me to do it, and I guess saw
Well, I'm
something
glad I
special in
did.
Doomsday's Crypt. I think I was still.
Something
I
very
might even have been
special.
Doomsday Kingdom Army still.
Yes,
when
when I
you
first
first.
met you, you were Doomsday Kingdom Army.
Yeah, and then I switched it up to Doomsday's Crypt, and then
Yeah,
now we got the three-eyed demon, like I said, and cutouts, and it's been
awesome.
a fun journey. It's been a fun journey, and I
It
definitely
has.
give you a big props for it, and a big thank you to you for you know pushing me and saying I took it was a big compliment to hear from you saying, hey, dude, you're doing. I'm really enjoying what you're doing. Keep it up and push at
Well,
it. And I didn't think I like half the shit.
All I can say, John, is the indie film community needs people like you. I mean, it needs its filmmakers, it needs its promoters, it needs, but it needs people out there that are doing stuff and showing excitement about what they're doing, whether it's going to cons or it doesn't matter what it is. The indie film community needs people who are what's the best word I'm looking for here? I'm bad with terminology. Again, part of getting old, my terminology is just leaves me. But I think you get what I'm saying. It needs
Yeah, I know
people who
exactly what
are
you mean.
positive and
Every
supporting the community.
everything serves a purpose. Not everybody can be a writer, director. Not everybody can be an
Yeah,
actor. And I appreciate you see me as somebody who's you see as somebody really cool in the indie community, trying to help and promote and push and show off. Not just filmmakers, all these talented artists and mask
yeah,
makers
not
and all
just
that.
me,
I just have so
exactly.
much fun showing these people.
Well, I'm glad you do.
So I
Yeah,
appreciate the kind
keep
words.
doing it, man. Keep doing it. I think you have. I think, man, you've built a following. I think you've done great. And I never kind of.
Yeah,
I think it's healthy to never look at it as, boy, I gotta keep getting new followers or whatever. Just do it because you love doing it. I've always
yeah. Well, I don't
kind of
really
had
even
that
have
attitude with
more
the filmmaking.
followers. Like it's not like my YouTube channel's blown up or my Facebook. But I got
Huh,
really cool people that come and
yeah,
check out the streams. I get you to come on. I got guys like Peter Anthony coming on. Brett
yeah,
Wagner comes and hangs out, and all these amazing people. Yeah, me and Mike got a long story. I'd love to get him on the show. I know one day he's going to come on and show his face and talk
oh
and
yeah,
get just to come hang out because Michael Toth has probably become one of my best friends in the world. He's
well, there
such a
you
loyal
go.
friend. Not at this moment he's like my best pal. He's always my dude. Always coming through all the stuff. A lot of the art you see right now, he's been killing it, man. So real proud of Michael Toth, Nooper, Mr. Pupo Doss. I know he
Mhm.
loves to share those Sawyer Massacre photos. He's been showing me all through the campaign. I know how excited he's been for it. And he's saying, so we'll give him the final word before we end this, and I'll let you
Sure.
tell people what you're up to. According to the guys, what is the future TCM franchise? It looks like a sequel to the 2021 version, or was it 2022? I can't even remember. But the Netflix one, and he wants a Sawyer Massacre 2 in 2024.
There you go. Uh, I know a lot of people want a sequel to Sawyer Massacre. I'm making no promises on that. I'm making no promises on a sequel, but I'll
Yeah,
never
well,
say never.
yeah, you said you weren't really. There was never thoughts to doing a sequel as a one and done film,
No.
and like you said,
Yeah,
you never
there
say
never
never.
was.
But
Never say never, but
I,
it makes me happy knowing that people want a sequel. I will say that. But I've also said this too. I would be honored if another filmmaker out there wanted to do a sequel to the Sawyer Massacre. I mean, I'd love to be, and I would love to be a part of it in some way, whether it's and whether I get any of my vision in there at all or not. It doesn't matter. It's just it, I'd be so happy to see somebody else do it. I I don't really, I never really planned to be a fan filmmaker. It's just I had such a passion for Texas Chainsaw Massacre that I had to go forward with this, and the pieces just all fell into place. But I mean, I've got a lot of original scripts that I really want to get to as well. So, um, but I'll never say never. I mean, I mean, I can already come up with ideas on what I would do for a sequel and all that kind of stuff, but and I won't say anything because you never know what might happen. But
yeah, yeah. Like he's,
But I mean, I love the fan film community. I love the fan film community because, man, we're what I love about it is the fans. First, we are fans, and we're making movies for the fans. And like again, Peter Anthony's Friday the 13th fan filmmaker. Without guys like Peter and Anthony, there aren't other Friday the 13th movies being made out there. And so I mean, the fans are getting a lot of great content from Friday the 13th fan filmmakers because their series has been dead in the water. Now, I guess maybe it's coming back. I heard of a TV series, whatever, but still.
yeah.
And with Texas
They'll fuck
Chainsaw
it up. The
Massacre,
Hollywood will fuck
yeah,
it up.
exactly.
They'll fuck it up.
Yeah,
They're gonna fuck it up
I
bad.
think that is a
I
problem.
hope it comes out good.
I think a lot of horror fans don't really like the way Hollywood does films
I'm
anymore.
hoping for the best, but bracing for the worst.
Yeah,
I mean, look at Terrifier 2, Damien Leone.
yeah.
$250,000. It was a fan movie, and that I don't think it's like your type of movie. Just because I from
I'm
how
not
you
a big
said
gore.
things, I think
I
you
saw the
finally
first.
watched.
I saw the first
Yeah,
Terrifier, and that one I believe was made for like 35 grand, so it was comparable
yeah,
to
it
the
was,
Sawyer Massacre, to what we
right.
had as far as budget. So I looked at that and said, "Wow, for budget, they really knocked it out
Well,
of the
Damien
park."
Leone's a special effects master as well as like writer and
That
director,
makes
and so that
sense.
guy did
That
was
makes sense.
yeah. So
There was
huge
I would
props
say,
to
I
him.
mean, there's definitely some story things that I would have done differently than he did, but I'm not a big clown horror guy. I've never been a big clown
Yeah,
horror guy, but
yeah.
man, I props
They
to them.
killed it on Terrifier 2.
They've
It was
killed it
much better
exactly,
than
and they've
the
done it
other
all
person.
independently. They've done it all
Yeah, they listen
independently.
to fans.
They exactly, and that's
They're in touch
important.
with the fans. They're in
Mhm.
touch with us. So and it's cool to
Yeah,
see them prosper the way they're doing it because
yeah,
they have listened to fans and didn't listen to
exactly.
outside bigwigs.
Yeah.
So props to
We're
them.
lucky.
Just shows what the indie community can do.
Exactly. So I mean, we're lucky as far as fan films go too. I think we're lucky to have guys like Peter Anthony. We're lucky to have people like Dave McCrae. They're making It's Me Billy too. Because man, again, Black Christmas is one of my favorite horror films, and the remakes were terrible. So I mean, we're lucky we live in a time where fan films aren't what they used to be. You know, made for the price of a pizza.
Yeah.
And it's an inside joke. They're not that anymore. They're actually made for. They're made by real filmmakers. We're not just fans. We're fans, but we're also filmmakers, and we have a process to what we're doing, and we want to make sure we make the best possible film for our fans because we want to like our own films as well too. If we are actual fans, we want to see movies get made that we're going to like ourselves. So
Well,
I think that's
this might
important about
influence
it.
you for part two. This might
It might,
influence you for
it
part
might,
two.
it
But
might.
let me, you know who Facebook user is? Mr. Brett Wagner. That's
Oh,
who
it's Facebook
Facebook
user.
user is. I had to look it up.
I want to be in
So you
part
got
two.
the swag. Yeah, there you
Ah,
go, man. Now you got to make a part two. Now you gotta dust off the old shirt and pants and get back out there, man. He's ready to go. That's pretty cool, though. That's high praise
that
from the
is pretty
swag.
awesome. It's awesome that you got guys like Brett Wagner that aren't. Uh, I don't want to say this the wrong way, but I know that there's a lot of people in the indie film community that frown upon fan films. That will totally frown upon them and not think of them as real films or whatever. And those people are entitled to their own opinions. That's fine, but it's good that we have enough people in the indie film community like Brett that have been in big movies and whatnot, that are still supportive of fan films. So it's good that it's gotten to that point. I mean, imagine 10 years ago, what do you think Brett Wagner would have wanted to be in a fan film with the way they were being made 10 years
No,
ago, basically by teenage kids with their with their flip phones or something like that, and fan films have just evolved. It's just I don't know. I mean, I think
and to
I
be
think it's just
fair, It's not just Brett, which is awesome. Brett embraces
Yeah.
the
Oh,
indie
it's definitely
stuff,
not
but
just
there's a
Brett.
lot of actors.
There is.
Well,
There
no,
is.
Brett's a big part. I'd love to see Brett in some of these indie movies because he's a fantastic guy and he's a fantastic actor. So I'm looking forward to him in Evil 3.
Oh yeah.
But a lot of these 80s actors are coming out to these indie projects,
Yeah,
not just fan
exactly.
films, but indie projects.
Indie
Beatrice
projects, yeah.
just got cast in Dead Place, and David Howard Thornton's in that, Bill Oberst Jr., and oh my God, in Peter Anthony's films, in Roseblood, he brought
Yeah,
back Tina,
exactly.
Lar, Lar,
Yeah,
Lar Park Lincoln,
yeah,
and Terry
and yeah,
Kaiser, and
that's right.
in yeah, and Vengeance, my buddy Mick Strawn, production designer on Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, 4, 5, and so many other films. Boogie Nights
Yeah,
was involved in that. And plus, you had, let's see, Tamara Glenn from Halloween 5 was
yes,
in
Halloween
that.
5, yeah.
God, CJ Graham coming back, Tom McLaughlin. I mean, these are people that were part of these movies. So anybody who says that these indie films or fan films are shit, I don't know. I'll put those movies up with anything. If you have the right
Exactly.
budget, the right people making them,
Yeah,
they're
you get
fantastic, man. There's some
you
good
get the
ones out there.
you get the right people behind a fan film, it's gonna be good. I mean, that's just the way it is. You can't put all fan films with those $100 movies being made. You can't put them all in that same boat, you know. And yes, there are still some of those fan films being made as well. I mean, they'll probably never stop being made, but you know, I mean, we can't all be treated equally. Just like any
Well,
film can't be treated equal, you know, any indie film can't be treated
I,
equally. I mean,
res-
there's some, you know, indie films made for a couple $100, there's some made for
I, res-
a couple $100,000, you know. So
I respectfully disagree with a lot of the people that don't aren't. I mean, that's fine. Everybody's got their own taste, whether they like or
mhm.
dislike indie films, but they do need a budget because, like I was saying, I mean, there are talented people out there that came out of the wood, you know, out of nowhere. Damien Leone. I think Jason
Exactly.
Brooks is amazing. I think you're an incredible talent coming out, and a few other people that I know that are from the indie community. And sometimes starting off fan films opens up to making your own movie because you get the fans to see what you're doing with that, and it gives original ideas. And it's not Hollywood just copy and pasting everything. The only way that
Exactly
movies
right.
are going to grow and get better is fan supported projects that the fans are pushing for, and the people that are making it, like we use Terrifier 2 as a good example, feeding in
Very good
and
example.
listening to the fans of what works and what doesn't, and being in tune with that. And it's bringing back some of these 80s stars that we loved, and recreating their roles, or coming back to the roles they've played. Tom Matthews is like in a bunch of them, coming back as
Yeah.
Tommy Jarvis.
Yeah.
CJ Graham, seeing him in Vengeance as Jason's father was
Yeah, that
awesome.
was kinda
Uh,
Vengeance too. Yeah, that was pretty
yeah,
cool.
Jason
And I'm
Brooks.
not a Friday the 13th kinda
Yeah,
guy, but there's a part of me that when I saw Bloodlines, Vengeance 2 Bloodlines, I was like,
a
this
Friday the
feels like
13th
a
movie,
Friday
man.
the 13th movie that I would actually that even if somebody
I
who's not a big
consider
fan,
it
I
canon.
can
I consider
tell.
that. Yeah,
Yeah. I can
I consider
tell that this was
six.
made by somebody who wanted to see certain things in a
Yeah,
Friday the 13th movie. You know, that's the thing. And they made it to give the fans, like, this was made for the fans. Like, it was so made for the fans. You know, there was so much fan service in a good way, because there was fan service in a bad way and there's
yeah,
fan service
yeah.
in a good
There's
way.
yeah,
But,
yes, yes.
you
And
know,
not every
so
indie movie is going to be perfect, and not every
of
indie
course not.
filmmaker is
You
going to
know,
make it. But this is an opportunity for the talented ones to come out and be supported and get that chance. You know, and you don't have to be spending $500-600. You can spend the price of a movie ticket to give these guys a chance. And enough people do it. They get a budget. They got a chance to prove that they can do it. And if they fail, they fail. But you're losing the price of a movie ticket. I look at it. If everybody kind of was pitching in the price of a movie ticket, it opens up a lot of opportunity. 5-10 bucks. Let's
exactly.
donate it to a campaign that you think could be
Yep.
good. And what do
It
you got
adds
to
up.
lose? Hopefully the person generates money. They bring on a lot of these stars. Like, the indie community is really growing in a good, positive way. Um,
Yeah, I agree.
you know, next
I
time
agree.
you have a campaign, you might be able to get those people that you didn't think you'd be able to get, because now it's
I
like
pro
it's not that.
I kind of wish I mean, I thought I was going to have Ed Neal, so, but so I
Yeah,
was
but
like, oh,
there's
okay, I'm
I
so,
think the indie stigma is kind of taken away. It's kind of
I
opening
know.
up the indies. Not a bad avenue to go. Felissa
Oh
Rose
yeah,
is doing a lot of indie stuff.
he's
A
doing a
lot of these
ton. I
people
mean,
are
yeah,
doing some. I mean, the doors have opened by people like that are doing these indie films and giving these people another chance to be seen again in the horror community. A lot of people that the fans want to see again. Who thought you'd see Lar Park Lincoln reprising her role as Tina?
as Tina,
Um,
yeah, in
CJ
Roseblood, yeah,
Graham coming back to a Friday the 13th franchise. Tom McLaughlin doing work on it. And all these
exactly.
people. So much love.
It's
So
awesome.
Terrifier is an indie project. Terrifier 1 and 2 is an indie project that just
It is a
shows and
totally
opened the
indie project. Again, the first one was made for like 35 grand. That's
yeah.
that's that's fantastic. I just want to say whether you like the film or not, what they did for 35 grand is fantastic. Fantastic.
Oh,
So I
insanely
mean,
good.
it's
Well, the
props
practical effects, the
props.
Damien
Yeah.
Leone doing, and I see a lot of Jason Brooks and Damien Leone that I really like a lot because they're both great
Okay.
writers and directors, but they're also incredible special effects guys. Uh,
Yeah. I
Jason does some really nice props, and Damien Leone, all those practical effects, I know he's behind them. And I was lucky enough to have
oh,
Steve
really cool.
Barton on. He when he told me it was $250,000 to make him, like, get the fuck out of here, you know. I mean, that's just insane. It's insane.
Yeah.
But congratulations to everybody. And congratulations to you,
Exactly.
Steve.
Oh,
33,000. I could see it hitting 50, 100,000, half a million.
that would be
It's
pretty
gonna get
cool.
there.
Half a million
It
might be a
will.
little bit unrealistic for that. You
Yeah,
never know.
not really.
Uh,
Not really.
I
I mean,
mean,
maybe not this year, but over time it's easily gonna hit 100,000, 200,000, 300,000.
overtime, yeah, overtime,
Yeah.
overtime. I think 100. I'll be pretty happy when it hits 100,000. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'll be a very
I'm
very
sure it will.
happy camper. I'm about a third of the way there now. About a third. That's pretty
Yep.
cool. I mean, it's Texas again. Texas Chainsaw Massacre isn't as big as Friday the 13th or Halloween, so I
No.
never would expect it. And my channel's not huge. It's not huge. It's not bad either. I mean, it's a couple thousand subscribers. Mind you, we got a
Yeah,
lot
but
of those over the
more than
last
me. I
ever. We
Mine
got a lot of
stays at
those
a
subscribers.
standstill.
Yeah,
Mine's
yeah,
at a standstill, but you know what? I enjoy the people that come in and hang out.
yeah,
It's never been about the numbers of those.
yeah. It
And
should never be about the
between
numbers. Yeah,
Facebook and YouTube, some really great people that come in and interact. So
very
I'd
good.
love to hit 1,000 at YouTube within the next 20 years, but we'll see what happens.
Oh,
We'll see what happens.
yeah. Never. I just keep
No,
putting out
I honestly
content and
don't care. Yeah. Well, I'm just really happy with the people that support everything that we're
exactly.
doing. Like indie people coming in and checking out interviews with you and all the other amazing guests I got, and really looking forward to them. Mike's
Well,
such
there you go.
a great fan. I didn't read his whole his whole thing when I met John a long time ago in the porn industry. His name was Hung Short.
I'm sure.
Thank you, Mike.
That's great. That's a great porn name.
Yeah, and that was after the pump because they were calling me Hung Tiny, and it was terrible. I was embarrassed, but thankfully got the Hung Short.
Oh man.
But thanks again, Steve. Oh man, an hour and a
Oh,
half.
thanks
It's
for having me,
always fun
John.
talking to you. We'll do it
Always
again
fun.
soon, and
Oh, I'm sure we will.
I'm sure you got something planned for the future. I'm guessing
Oh yeah.
an original indie film that you'd like to
Yeah.
do. I know we've talked about it before, that you had something you wanted to work on after the Sawyer Massacre,
Oh, definitely
and
do.
best of luck with that.
I can't wait to get
Yeah,
to it.
and yeah, congratulations on 32,000, 33,000. I want to see you hit 35,000 hopefully by the end of the month. And yeah, thanks again
Oh
for
man.
coming on, and thank you for all the support you've always given me.
Oh, no
And it's an
problem,
honor
John.
being
You're a
a
good guy, man. Awesome.
associate producer on the Sawyer Massacre. It was pretty cool seeing my name in the title there. That was pretty cool. So
Awesome.
thank you again,
Thank
and
you,
thank you
John. You have
fans in
your
chat.
yes, thank you,
Oh, go ahead,
everybody.
Steve.
Have yourselves a good night. That's all I want to say. Have a good
Okay,
night, and thanks for supporting. We'll say that too.
yeah. Peace out, guys.